take a look at how you can install Visual Studio on your Windows. So this version is 2022, so we are going to download the community edition. So first thing that we are going to do is we are going to visualstudio.microsoft.com, and then here you can find free Visual Studio. You can scroll down to check the community 2022 edition. Click on that. It should immediately download an installer, and from there you can install your further Visual Studio. You will also find the type of application that you can download and install. As you can see, there is .NET framework, then your ASP.NET desktop, then Unity specific support, ML.NET, right? And now we will also find C++, Python, JavaScript, and few other support, right? So what we should do is click on the installer, let it load. So basically you don't get any offline ISO anymore. You just have to continue with the Visual Studio installer, where you can see there is workload tab, which will have various specific solutions which you can install with Visual Studio. So here you see ASP.NET, then Azure for your Azure specific apps and services, right? Then there is Python, also Node.js for your respective stacks, right? So you can choose them. The next thing you can also make use of is you can use Node.js for your Angular and let's say Vue or React. Then you have .NET Desktop, right? And also the mobile development option with .NET, right? So we can choose one of these workloads for ourselves, right? So as you can see, this Xamarin would work for both Android iOS. Then .NET for desktop, we can go with that. On right hand side we can see the type of selections already made for us. You can choose anything additional if you want, like local DB, which is kind of like SQLite for SQL Server, right? So there is also ML.NET and few other packages that you can find selected. Along with that, you can choose mobile development if you want. So I'm going to choose Xamarin, so I'm choosing that. Then you have option for install while downloading, so select that, because we don't want to download and then run. We want simultaneous installation of components which we download, so we will select that option. Then we will go check for more options. So here you see C++ equivalent of your mobile and desktop. There is also UWP, then Unity and Unreal support, right? Then you have data storage and data science options, along with your let's say gaming options, right? Then you have Linux support, Office, SharePoint development options, and Visual Studio extension development options. So I'm going to only select data storage for now. If you want others, you can select them. Let's say for Linux, you can choose that, right? For data science, let's say F# and Python support, so I'm going to exclude that. Right now what we can do is we can select the respective stack options, and we will also take a look at some of the components. As you can see, you can download them individually, right? All of these workload selections are here. You can choose them. Also, you should look at location where all of this is saved. You can change that if you want, right? Then comes the another tab, language pack. So depending on your language, if it's available here, you can select that, right? Then location for all Visual Studio stack. As you can see, the Visual Studio subname 2, right, and then download size, right, and here you see total 12 GB of setup. Let's go back to workload and scroll for any other solution, and we can begin installation after this. So we are good to go. So when we hit install, it should start the installation. As you can see, it will install itself first, then it will download the component required for Visual Studio. Also, it has the build tools 2019 and 2022, right, and third, it will install the Visual Studio installer, right. So let's wait for it to finish the download. You can also see the start after installation option. I'm going to disable that so that I can manually show you how it gets launched, right. So let's wait. Now, as you can see, once it is completed, you can go ahead and launch it, and after that you'll find Visual Studio sign in option. You can ignore that if you don't have any sync settings, assure device support. Just go with not now, maybe later, right. Click on that and it should start Visual Studio's theme selection option. Let's go with the blue because that's the one I'm familiar with, right. There is also contrast option, light, and system settings option, so we will have to check that. So we'll select blue option, start Visual Studio. You can also start with development settings for specific stack like JavaScript, C#, web development. Let's go with general and start it. Now once started, it should show you Visual Studio 22 for your options here: clone a repository, create project or solution from existing folder, open local folder, or create new project. You can start without any existing code. Simply click on continue without code. Now here you see the Visual Studio has Solution Explorer on the right, toolbox and servers on the left. You can expand them by tapping on them. Connect to your SQL Server or Postgres. Also there is toolbox option. You can view that. You can also rearrange depending on how you wish to see it. Right, now let's go to file menu, and where we are going to create new project solution. So file, let's wait for this cursor to release. Meanwhile, at the bottom you can see there is a repository option. You can now connect to your GitHub or any other Git repository and fetch those repositories to your Visual Studio. And then now let's go to file, new project. Here I want to just test out a console application, so I will try to find that. So at the first here you can see .NET 6 console app that will run on all platforms. Select that, click next, right, and here you can choose the name. I'm going with the default for both name, location, and solution. Also you can see the platform where it will be able to run, right. So let's keep the location as is, solution name as is, and then click on your next button. So let's go there. Now comes the framework support. By default I selected only .NET 6 at the time of installation, so it is the option that I have available. You can go for any backwards support if you want. Choose the respective template for that, right. And then what you should do is wait for it to create your project solutions. As you can see here, you see project.cs file, okay, which you can debug by going to debug, start debugging, right, or press F5. When you do that, it will go into debug mode and it will open one console application, right? So this console application would be something you will have to check for output. So at the top it will generate the output and it will require you to press any key to exit out of this window, right? So just press any key to close this window and then you are good to go. As you can see, we have managed to compile a C# project. So our Visual Studio 22 is ready to use. So we'll move to other options, right? So as you can see, we are ready to add any other code. Now let's create another project, or at least go through the set of project templates we have, right? So here you can see various set of project options where you get the templates, right? Lot of Xamarin Forms and Xamarin supported templates. Then next is you can also find iOS support template as well, right? And what I want to do from this point onwards is I will also have to check what are some solutions that we have to download. Let's say here you see Windows UWP will require a download. So for that we'll have to select it, then it should go to that workload download option, right? Apart from that, we also have platform support. So Linux would have sorted templates. You have Xbox Windows support, right? And then you also have language support through which these templates are sorted as well, right? So pretty much you have everything to go for, and most of your selected workload solutions are ready to use. So if you want any further, you can go to Windows menu and check for that particular new workload solution, or you can select this from this particular link that I have just shown, right? So this should help you get started with Visual Studio 2022, and you can get to develop .NET applications, Xamarin applications, or your Unity or any other workload that you wish to use.